May 6, 1952. Inside a damp subterranean laboratory at King's College London, a Raymax X-ray tube hums for exactly 100 hours. A narrow beam of X-rays strikes a single microscopic fiber of calf thymus DNA, scattering onto a piece of photographic film. When developed, the image reveals a striking, stark black X surrounded by diamond shapes. This is photograph 51, the most important image in biological history. The woman who captured it, Rosalind Franklin, died 4 years before the Nobel Prize was awarded for the discovery of DNA's double helix. To deconstruct her scientific reality, I am joined by Dr. Before the toxic atmosphere of King's College, Franklin experienced a profound scientific awakening in Paris. In 1947, she joined the Laboratoire Central under Jacques Mering. Mering taught her X-ray crystallography not as a mere imaging tool, but as rigorous mathematical physics. She spent 3 years analyzing the porous structure of heated carbons, work that remains foundational in modern carbon fiber manufacturing. Paris gave her absolute technical autonomy. She learned to hand-build her own microcameras and precisely align capillary tubes under a microscope. That expertise immediately collided with the entrenched patriarchy of King's College. Laboratory director John Randall had explicitly recruited Franklin to lead the DNA crystallography unit. However, he failed to communicate this to Maurice Wilkins, the deputy director, who assumed Franklin was hired as his technical assistant. The cultural dissonance was stark. Wilkins was notoriously conflict-averse. Franklin was fiercely direct, trained in the vigorous, argumentative style of French scientific debate. Despite this isolation, her experimental design was flawless. DNA fibers transition between 2 states depending on hydration. Franklin realized previous researchers were capturing blurred mixtures of both. She designed a custom microchamber, bubbling hydrogen gas through saturated salt solutions to maintain exactly 92% humidity. This isolated the elongated B form of DNA. Exposing a single hair-thin fiber for over 4 days, she produced photograph 51. The turning point, and the great historical injustice, occurred in late January 1953. Without Franklin's knowledge or consent, Maurice Wilkins removed photograph 51 from her desk drawer and showed it to James Watson. Watson later wrote that his jaw fell open and his pulse began to race. The image provided the exact missing parameters Watson and Francis Crick needed to build their physical model at Cavendish Laboratory. Crucially, Franklin's own laboratory notebooks from February 1953 prove she was already zeroing in on the double helix independently. She had calculated the exact dimensions and the anti-parallel nature of the strands. But by March, she had transferred to Birkbeck College to escape King's, leaving the DNA work behind. At Birkbeck, she pivoted to virology, applying her brilliant crystallographic techniques to the tobacco mosaic virus. She proved its genetic material, RNA, was embedded deep within its protein cylinder, not wrapped around the outside. Tragically, Franklin never saw that exhibition. She died of ovarian cancer in April 1958 at just 37 years old, likely exacerbated by years of unshielded X-ray exposure. 4 years later, Watson, Crick, and Wilkins shared the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. The Nobel Committee does not award posthumously, but none of the 3 men gave Franklin meaningful credit in their acceptance speeches. 3 final takeaways. First, Rosalind Franklin was not merely an assistant. Her rigorous Parisian training made her the preeminent crystallographer of her era. Second, the discovery of the double helix was fundamentally built on her unauthorized, uncredited experimental data, specifically photograph 51 and her MRC report. Third, her legacy extends far beyond DNA. Her pioneering structural maps of RNA viruses laid the exact foundation for modern virology. The history is rarely a solitary eureka moment. It is a ledger of who gets the resources and who gets the credit. Thank you to Dr. Vance and Dr. Baptiste for joining us.